Hey, everybody. Thank you again for joining another question and answer here at Broadway Upholstery on YouTube. And Jimmy is not here today, so it's me by myself, and Patrick and Michaela are traveling. So I didn't even get any updates. So I'm kind of winging it today. But I did set up a chair in the back that Jimmy was working on last week. You guys might be interested in it. I'm gonna maybe get some work done on it. I probably will because I don't have any distractions. I've got a few things to talk about, but I think you're going to see mostly me upholstering this chair with horsehair. So Jimmy already got the deck done, and I was looking at it. Have it up for you guys can see. Hopefully, you'll see something that I'm doing because we don't have the overhead angles on these live shows, especially with Patrick not here. But we should have some fun today. And as usual, you guys want add some comments to add a little filler for the show, that would be great. As usual, you guys usually do that. So today, the reason Jimmy's not here is he helped me with. I should talk a little bit about a sectional that I'm doing. It's a big job for me. It's a very big sectional for a very large home in a suburb of Boston, and it's being done in piecework. It's comprised of a love seat and a sofa. Hi, Daphne, how you doing? And it's a huge job. It consists of a body with one arm on one love seat and four big cushions. Big cushions. I mean, they weigh a lot. Each cushion weighs a lot. It's like when you look at this job, you're saying, "Wow, how am I ever going to do it? And how long is it going to take? And how much should I get for it?" That's an interesting thing that I want to talk about. So a lot of times, what's happening is when you price out a job, and I'm pretty competitive with my prices. I'm probably upper middle in the Boston area for pricing. A lot of times, I would say 50%, we've talked about this, 50% of the jobs that I estimate I don't get. So I know that I'm not the cheapest. If I was the cheapest, I'd be getting probably every job, right? I mean, if I was half of what if I was getting half of what I'm getting now, I would probably get at least 90% of the jobs that I'm writing, right? So, but still, though, you're given the estimate, so that puts you in labor wise. I'm talking about not even fabric, labor wise. It puts you in the upper bracket in the metropolitan Boston area. In my case, so I'm talking to all those people out there who maybe, hi Randy, who want Randy has is operating his own business. But for anybody else out there, I think I help Randy too with pricing sometimes. But he's out in Wisconsin, so every geographic area and the demographics that you're in is different. We have a friend in Blair. He's down the south, the Gulf of Mexico area, Alabama, I believe. So he's actually posted some. If you guys want to check him out on Facebook, I think it's called Blair Design. He just got a nice. He's getting into the design. He's a smart kid, and I say that he's young. He's like 25, so he's been watching me and taken a lot of what I say is suggestions that he's taken, and I'm honored by that he's taken that up. But he's just recently getting into design, so he's selling other things along with his labor. So that's smart. It's a way to recoup some money. So getting back to the sectional, so you go into. I don't do add-ons when I do estimates. I think that's a little silly, and I don't think people. I don't like it when I go. I just want a price. Give me a price, and what can you do for me? Sometimes even what even the big box stores have to offer, for instance, free delivery sometimes to sell a job. I do that. But lately, I've been noticing with inflation, with the gas going up. I mean, in California, they're paying over $6 a gallon, and we do have people out in Washington State in that area who look at us. I'm not sure what Janine can let us know overseas what's going on with the gas, but this is tied into your what the jobs that you can get. I mean, so I've been noticing that when I'm writing a job, and I even when I have it, there's still a little bit of I have to dangle a carrot and offer free pickup and delivery. That's getting a little expensive though. It really is. So it all affects the bottom line, and I think inflation. I think the good news there is I'm hearing from a lot of my customers who are going out looking for new furniture that they're not willing to wait. Some of them are saying that they're getting along, um, like 60. Somebody said 66 weeks. Somebody quoted them for some new furniture. So what that means is that could mean that I could be busy in the newer. That's my compressor, which I'm going to need in a little while. That means that maybe in my newer furniture area, not so much the antiques, but newer furniture, I may be getting more of that, which is fine. I don't particularly like it. The section was modern, but it's work. So excuse me, it's very dry here. We woke up to a very cold day in New England. Daphne is in New England. She could tell you it really was cold this morning. Randy says, out there, they're $4 plus. Yeah, that's what it is around here. It's about 4.39. $5. Daphne paid $5 a gallon today. So it really does. And it was snowing this morning. Yeah. So it really does. The gas inflation really does. What does it do for small business? It makes it a little bit hard, as if it isn't hard enough. Because people come in and they're astonished that I went right through in a storefront and right outside of Boston, that I survived through this pandemic. And it was tough. We had 3 months where we didn't have a single person come in through the door, which was, you talk about that hurt. And of course, then you have people offering all kinds of capital, 19%, 20%. Randy, don't do that. I did it once and I really was sorry I did it. It's a lot of money to pay. So, just to keep the doors open, we did that. But, it served a purpose back then, but I don't know if I'd do it again. So it is difficult. It is tough. It's a tough business climate. It's been tough. Now this is going into 3 years, 2.5 years or so. So I'm always finding ways, though, of kind of bouncing back. I think a good small business does that, and I think it's so important for a community. I mean, people don't realize what small business means. I think until the pandemic hit, I think that they maybe took small business for granted. But I think am in the belief that small business is the backbone of the economy. It's the backbone of this country. Really, I really do believe that. And I think anybody that's in business, you're doing more than just providing for your family. I think you're providing for the community in a lot of ways. Even if I find that even if people don't use me, they walk by the shop and I know that they smile. I know that they're glad that I'm there to see the lights on, to add some vibrancy to a community. So no, Blair's doing this now. I've been following him along his he's making friends with his neighbors. He's reaching out and helping them by posting on there, which is what I try to do, posting on your website, maybe specials that they're having. It's really wonderful. I think Southern House hospitality down there fits pretty easy to their mentality. But I think New Englanders get a raw deal. I think New Englanders can rise to the occasion a lot of times. So we're hopeful around here. We're hopeful. So I'm still here. And so Jimmy helped me with this. I think I wore him out because the poor guy, he works underground in Boston, and I will. He works underground as a supervisor on the T in Boston, and he wakes up at 3 in the morning, and so he's coming in to help me at 1. Really, that's what, 3, 4, 5. That's the end of his day. And so that's tough for him. But it was a tough. We had to deliver the section, one part of the sectional, and pick up the other part, put it in the van, and they're heavy. They were heavy, man. So I wore him out. So that's why he's not here. But this old guy's here. So I think what I'm going to do is, first of all, thank people for joining in. And if you've never joined into me before, this is a question and answer that was designed to follow up a lot on our online classes that people are taking, with questions that they might have over that. And also YouTube, to catch up on our YouTube comments. And if you have any live comments, we have an active board here, a comment board where Randy helps out, and Daphne. Some of our more seasoned people who are upholstering will help you out maybe with some questions you have. I might chime in a little bit too. But Randy's been gracious enough to help us out with that. So if you have any questions, you can ask. So, but before I get to that, I'm gonna get to some of the YouTube. Let's see what we got on YouTube. Oh, we got a one just now live, now live on YouTube. No, we can't use that. That's us. So we have one here from the Bentwood Rocker that we did, part three. So this is good that we've got some part. I forgot about this one. Usually they're one-offs, but occasionally I know people like this. They like the more A to Z type videos on YouTube, which we try to provide. But the online classes provide real extensive A to Z, and you guys have taken that. You had know that. But if you should check it out now, the way to check that out is at Upholstery on Broadway, as well as our website where we do our custom work. You can see some of the work that I've done there. Some of the class, I think they still have class scenes when we used to do in-house classes, which was fun, which hopefully I'll get back to sometime. But it has the store that you can buy supplies at. It has the online classes too. So you can check that out if you want. But she says, Lily says, wow, so beautiful. I feel confident I could tackle my two rocking chairs! Exclamation point. I love those exclamation points. That's good. Thank you. Club chair reupholstery. This was one we just recently did, A to Z part 5. I think Patrick managed to get that up. Let's see if this is so this is a code of some sort. I'm not even gonna guess at what this means. Maybe Daphne. Daphne's pretty good at this. She's good at the codes. It reminds me of a fellow like me who like when emailing first started, and he was he didn't know what LOL, laugh out loud, meant, and I didn't either. This could have been me, but it wasn't me. But I guess what in the beginning, his daughter was texting him. She had some type of accident, where it wasn't a serious accident, but it was an irritating something that happened. She sprained an ankle or something, let's say. And so he was writing back, "Oh, that's too bad." He thought it meant love a lot, love of something. He thought it meant signing off. He thought it meant love a lot or something like that. So he would say, "Oh, that's too bad. You sprained your ankle. LOL." And of course, I don't know if she got it right away, or if she got mad at him, but he was doing that to a lot of people without realizing it meant laugh out loud. But this is what Wallace says about the A to Z. Daphne, maybe you can help me with this. He's got it underlined too, which means I'm not sure if it's not appropriate, you don't have to, you could say that, but it's PRO. It's all one word, all one. There's no hyphen or anything. PROMOSM. So it's P. This is his only comment. It's each letter's underlined. PROMOSM. I don't know if it's nice, which maybe you can help me with that one. Let's go to the next one. The next one. So Shane was a little impatient with me, I guess, on this one. This is how to tie a slip knot. And he says, just tie the knot. And now he has 3 exclamation points. Oh, Daphne says, I think it's not nice. But I think you're right, Daphne. I don't think it's nice. And yeah, that's right. That's what it is. But Patrick would have known right away. That's why not having Patrick here can be a little dangerous, right? But it's just an abbreviation for something. Oh well, young people have a code all their own too, from what I understand. And I know something about teenage girls have this sound that only they can hear. Daphne, I bet Daphne knows this. She's smart. Is that true? I mean, this is. I bet it is. There's a sound like a really high pitched sound that only they can hear. I bet that's true. Sometimes they feel like you feel like it could be a typo for promotion. That's true, Daphne. Yeah. So let's go to the next one. Uh, Karen. Okay, now I can understand a comment here. This is about repairing a popped or broken button. She says, my tufting has lost its tuft. I can do the button method, no problem, but the leather cushion is not removable, and the slip knot button does not create the lost. Oops, I lost her. Oops. Slip knot button does not create the lost tufting I need to replicate. What can I do? So what's happening? She's got a loose cushion, and she's trying to make the button on the other side. What she needs to do is cut a twine about a yard long, and then thread one end of the button on the loop, thread both ends through the button needle, and punch that through the whole cushion, so that she's got on the other end, one end she's got the button, and on the other end she's got two. She only has two twines coming through the other side of the cushion. And then what she wants to do is string one button to one of the twines, just a button to one of the twines, and then make your slip knot, and then pull your slip knot really tight as the other buttons, and then you tighten it off, and then you trim it, and that's it. Usually you have to take a needle and kind of tuck the ends down. But she might, if she's just looking at she's looking at at this video, which shows me putting, I do it two ways. One with a clasp, with the proper equipment, like the German needle, or a washer, but either one has to go into the hole and then kind of fall into the back, behind a spring, behind burlap, or behind cotton. Not just cotton, but it has to be something solid, and it has to stick there. And the twine has to the twine though still has to move free around the washer or the clasp. You guys know what I mean? And then the twines, and then you pull out your button, and just the twines are coming out through the front, and then you do what I just said. You string the button on one, and then tie a slip knot, and then pull it tight. That saves. I'll tell you something. If somebody out there not right now is watching, that's a popular video because it's all about saving money with that one. That could save you a couple of $100 if an upholsterer has to come in and do it. They might even take it and do it, as they say. Daphne says it's been a long time since she was a teenager, but maybe she doesn't remember. It's a very unique age and gender. I wish I had a girl. I never had a girl. Wish I had a girl, but we have Patrick. He's good, as you guys know. So let's go to the next one here. Repairing a pop button. Fixing a pop button. See, I told you it's popular, right? Sarah says, you're awesome. Thank you. That could have been from last week too, you guys. Let me just make sure. Probably was. I think she's saying I'm awesome because I saved her about $400 or $500, right? Randy says, "Hey Kevin, got to run babysitting the grand dog this week. Little guy needs a walk. See you later." Okay, Randy, we'll see you later. Hope I didn't bore you to death. So now the new comment on the pricing on. Okay, so this is good. This is really an extensive comment on pricing and upholstery, the upholstery business. This is from Noreasy. Yeah, anything that is inherently a custom-based business, but which delivers a physical retail product as the end result. I've yet to find a perfect fit software solution. Hope this isn't an ad. For point of sale or anything like that. For many years, our business used QuickBooks, point of sale offline version, and it would just add products to our database for things like add exposed walnut base, or latex framing or whatever. And then we would add these on item line. We're talking about business, right? To the customer's invoice. The problem is that most software systems are fundamentally built around inventory management and ordering. However, if the only inventory you have remaining yards, sleeper mechanisms, or latex mattresses, you don't really need an inventory management for the details of the order. Handwritten notes and extensive diagrams as step number one, which we might provide to a customer in person on their first visit. Then digitize the notes using a boat illustrated due to the extensive use of diagrams, followed by an email confirmation of price, terms, of specifications, which constitutes a contractual agreement. I happen to agree on from a like an image standpoint, or from with all of what was said here. But the labor, I just see this as labor. I know some people it's easier to produce digitized invoices. Not so easy for me, but I know I could get used to it. But the fact is, in my business, I don't know. I can't speak for this business, but my business is more like, it has more of a tempo to it, or quickness. Customer texts me. And this happens a lot. Text me. I give them a price right away. They say, "Are you there now?" I said, "Yeah, I'm here now. Come on in." They come in. I have my handwritten estimates, and the deal is done right there with the handwritten estimates. Now, I could follow up, with maybe the digitized, but it's not necessary. Why the extra work? And I know from an image standpoint it might be good, but nobody's complained. As a matter of fact, I think it's refreshing. I think people don't like. I don't collect emails, which I've given up on constant contact because I hate the way I get solicited by constant contact. And my emails, I had like 95% full the other day, and I had to start deleting. That's a lot of emails. I mean, that's the business email. So I think people appreciate not getting emails from me. Although I understand that could hurt a little bit, and I know I shouldn't down constant contact, because I know that it's good. It was good for my. It's not as good for my custom business as it was for the school. The school, it was great. I mean, you needed to keep in contact with students. That was okay. But right now, I don't need it, and I think my customers, like I said, appreciate that. Um, Daphne, yeah, I know. Selective memory, right, Daphne? So let's just keep on going, because that was a really good comment. People take the time to comment on YouTube. Sometimes they go unanswered too, even on my YouTube, because we get so many of them. But I appreciate it. Now this one here is the basics of fabric. We're talking about picking fabric. You know, she says, "I love mixed upholstery pieces. It was a short-term fad, but it was just looked right to me." So yeah, I mean, I just did a job with free fabrics. The thing about that is, it gets a little bit complicated, with the more fabric colors that you introduce. It just makes sense. I mean, so this customer had an open floor plan. She had 6 dining room chairs, and she had two beautiful side chairs. They weren't matching side chairs, but they were old mahogany. One was more upholstered than the other one, but they were small, and a camelback sofa. 3 different fabrics. But she had her ideas when she came in, and when people have these ideas and they come in, and they aren't as good as putting things together, you're going to be working with that customer. It's not going to be an easy sale. So with me, what I do is I admit that I can only help. I'm not a designer. Tell people that right up front. I'm really good at scale. I'm really good at telling you how big a pattern should be on a particular piece, or what the tradition of that was, as you guys know. I have what we call a rudimentary sense of color. I do not say that I'm a color expert. That's why I have Michaela. That's why you have other people helping you with that, because they get through the first. I'm the first kind of hurdle, or whatever you want to call it, or the first attempt at fabrics, and and obviously talking about the labor job part of it and everything else. And then you have somebody else that is a little bit more schooled, a little bit more experienced in that field, because some people do need the extra help, and that, I would say, not all of them. Maybe 20%. So that was a good email, or good comment from you too. Let's look up the next one. Hey, that was basics of fabric. Another another pop button comment. So John says, fixing a pop button for free. How is the slip knot tied? Do you have a video on tying it? Yes, we do. Because the other guy was commenting that I was, I didn't comment on that actually, that I was taking too long. What you have to remember is my style of teaching, especially on YouTube. is for the novice or the beginner. I always know when somebody's commenting that's an upholsterer or that's further along in there, even if they're do-it-yourselfers. I always can tell if they just want the information and that's it. On that one there, I really slowed down. I wanted to talk about it. I think there was a little prep work, whatever, but that's my style, and it's the same thing on the online classes. It's slow, but the great thing about having a video is you can run right, you can do it fast forward, at least you're getting the information is there. You just have to, you know, if you're more advanced on the online for the online classes, just go through the easy stuff for you. Some people like watching the whole thing though, so there's actually an entertainment value to it, which we never really counted on that, but that's good, especially on the question and answer. I'm not sure how entertaining this is today because he's off babysitting a dog. That was more important than watching me. Thanks, Randy. I'm just kidding. Let's go on. Now Jimmy isn't here, Randy, so I have to pick on you. He's not here anyhow, Daphne, so it doesn't matter. I won't pick on Daphne. All right, so sorry, excuse me. It's very dry today. The next one is how to make double piping. And Sanya says, I'm looking for double piping 15 meters. So the only way you're going to get 15 meters or 15 yards of a double piping without buying a whole roll, which I can offer you on the Upholstery on Broadway, is you might be able to go into like an arts and crafts store somewhere, although I can't think of one right now that would have that. That's a very specific item, and that you may not be able to find that like that. Be able to find it in a roll, but not 15 meters. Make friends with the local upholsterer. Maybe he'll give you some. He'll cut you. That's a small amount to give to somebody. And by the way, I believe in that type of thing in the neighborhood. I had somebody come in the other day with a back cushion, and the Dacron had started to mat down, and she wanted new cushions, and I said, well, the only thing I recommend is down and feather, and I said that's the best replacement. And she said she's allergic to that. So I said, you know what? I have a cushion. I'm gonna give you the cushion. It has some Dacron in it, and I showed her how she can do it. And I just said, just as a public service, just to be friendly, whatever. I think that something like that will come back to you. I really do believe that if Blair is listening, and anybody that owns a shop. I mean, you have to be careful. You can't be giving freebies out all the time, obviously. But in this case, I wasn't going to be able to help her. I don't want what I don't do is replace a, an inferior cushion with another inferior cushion. I don't believe in that. I would rather give her the technique. That's what my YouTube channel is all about, a quick fix section that we have in there. And we do show that. If you guys are interested, go to the quick fix YouTube and go to quick fix cushions, and they're back cushions, and it shows you. It's really easy. It's the material though has to be the Dacron. You can't use cotton or towel or anything like that because the Dacron, you just add it to the bottom of the cushion. But you put your zipper halfway, stuff it in half of the cushion and keep zipping it up and keep adding the Dacron until what happens is it pushes the whole unit up, the inside of the unit up to the top, which is what you're noticing is the top. And it gives you, a lot of times it looks like the original cushion. So the advice that we give on there is to kind of extend the life of upholstered furniture so that you don't have to go out and buy new. Maybe if we're extending the life of that sofa another 5 to 7 years by doing that. So I think that's a good idea. Daphne says, I did find double piping at there's a local place to us by the yard. So that's what you need to do. Thank you, Daphne, for that advice. I didn't know that they did that they cut yardage on something like that. They must charge you for that, man. But that's good to know. So a big fabric supply or fabric store will do that. So I don't know where this person is, but look for something like that, Sonia. So let's go back to the next one. And then we had a comment on uh, Omnipotent Mama. She says, congratulations on this is about the upholstery show. Congratulations on 18,000. Jimmy has acquired quite the fan club. Yes, and he has. And he keeps asking for a raise, but I keep laughing like that. I'm not sure if he appreciates that or not. I don't know. There's another one here. There's another one here from the Upholstery Show Live. And this is overseas, I think, in India. We get a lot of people from India on here. Uh, Amaka, Amaka. I'm not sure exactly the pronunciation, but it's Amaka. Says, I really want to learn. I said, if you really want to learn, and you see the comments here, um, comments. People comment on the Facebook. I think that's a good place to learn from other people who are just starting out. The Facebook on Broadway Upholstery on Facebook. Check that out. Check out he's already checking out the YouTube, obviously. Um, for people starting out, I don't tell them. I don't tell them go out and buy all these tools and supplies and everything else. I would say don't do that. You have probably in a drawer. Everybody has that drawer in their kitchen. All the tools that you need to start upholstering with the YouTube channel. Seriously, and you don't need any supplies if you're reupholstering something. Now, restoration's different. You need all kinds of supplies for that. But if you're reupholstering something, meaning taking all the old fabric off and putting new fabric on, you need a pair of scissors. You need a pliers. You need a screwdriver, flathead screwdriver, a mallet, a wooden mallet, ideally. Scissors. I don't know if I missed anything, but that's pretty much. It's pretty basic. And you could start upholstering. If you say, I really want to learn, the best way to learn is by practice in upholstery and many other things. But I wouldn't let anything stop you. Start looking at my videos on YouTube. They're designed for somebody really like you who's just starting out and wants to see if this is an industry for them, either as a do-it-yourselfer or somebody that wants to open up their own shop like Blair did. And we've had a few people. I don't hear from everybody. I know I don't, but I think there's a few people out there that they've gotten their start watching the YouTube. Oh, this is a funny one. This is so long, you guys. I want to show you the transcript here. I can't read that whole thing, but they're talking about that. That's in response to this tongue-in-cheek. We did a couple of these videos in the beginning, tongue-in-cheek videos in the beginning, and we quickly, if you guys have watched me, you know that I kind of changed that to, all pretty serious stuff. But it was on cat fabrics, and I think I pretended to be an expert, and everybody knew that I wasn't. So Willard and Daphne are talking, and Daphne, if you can kind of take over for Randy like you are doing, I appreciate that. Actually, should I read this? I don't think I can read this. It's so long. It's like a novel. But the response was, um, "This is good. I'm not sure. I should save this and read it some other time. I want to get to this chair, but." The response to me pretending to be a cat expert is I think this person is an expert, and they have a lot of good stuff in here, and I can't believe I really like the fact that they took the time. But let me just read let me just read the first paragraph. It goes like this. Before I start my wall of text, I'd like to say I love your videos. Thank you so much for taking the time to teach. Does tighter weave fabric help? Question mark. Yes, it helps the fabric stand up longer. I put a commercial tight weave with a high double rub rating on chairs we inherited. It has stood up well to the cats, thinking the chairs are jungle gyms, and the cat lover grandma is probably looking down from heaven, happier that another generation of cats is enjoying the chairs than she is that we are. I have to say, I'm jealous of this person already because this is really well written. And when I have more time, I will read it. Oh, Daphne says, oh, yeah, Daphne, check it out. It's on YouTube. So if you guys want to really see the full context, um, check it out. It's the cat fabrics exclamation point video. So check that out. And if you could, Daphne, just thank her. I don't know if I could probably thank her. Um, if you could thank her, I can't have time to do that right now. That would be great. But let's get to another. Let's see if I caught up with. We did have a few of these that I caught up with. Oh, here's. Hold on a second. I want to make sure I give Daphne the right. Okay, so this is funny because this is another video that we did. And it's entitled "How to Fix Cat Damage on a Chair Arm." And George responds. George says, "Using the pillow fabric is a great idea. Do not think of that. If I have enough, I will not have to take from the back of the skirt." Yeah. So we were just showing people how to do a small repair with a little amount of fabric. I think it was like a 2 by 3 inch or something like that, which you could get in some part of the chair without people noticing it that you took it from somewhere else. And I think it was just a patch, but it looked a lot better than the damage. Again, so a lot of these I do to try to extend the life of a piece of furniture to make it look good. In the case of the cushions that came in the other day, she said she was having a guest coming in that was like Martha Stewart. She notices everything, and she wanted to make sure back cushions look good, I guess, for Easter. Helen says, "I'm in the process of having a catio built." I guess that's some type of cat house or something like that. Oh, no, you know what I mean by that, you guys, right? A cat structure. That's a better choice of words, right? Uh, yeah, Daphne says she'll thank. uh, well, we're having fun. The next one is Janine says, "Good advice. Everything you need to know about back cushions." What a nice segue to what I was just talking about, Janine. It's almost like Janine is connected. You'd be surprised. I don't know if this happens to you guys, but how many times when I'm thinking about somebody and they call me, it's really the universe works in strange ways. And that was Janine's an example. She's in tune, man. Um, let's see. New comment on Turkey. This is interesting. Poor Patrick. Um, oh, okay. Now I'm caught up. I say poor Patrick because we try not to get political, and sometimes you just don't know how you're gonna rub people the wrong way. I mean, furniture should be, and everything that we say, I try to be careful. I try to make it feel like nobody knows where I sit politically because I have a business. I had teaching. Teaching is like, um, especially adults. I think it's good to let people wonder what you are politically and not express your comments too much. But Patrick, we had a Turkish chair, so Patrick posted a picture of a Turkish flag. Innocently enough, but sometimes it gets these comments. It's sad. I mean, we're not we're not we're not the Geneva Convention or the United Nations or whatever you want to call it. It's upholstery, and the Turkish people had a wonderfully different type of style of upholstery, and it was a Turkish chair, and it's all metal, and I suspect that I'm just guessing that maybe there was a wood shortage or something at some point, and they needed to rethink how they built furniture, and they came up with a very clever way of doing it. And it probably takes about 90% less wood to produce a Turkish piece of furniture than it does anything else. And we don't all we didn't all have fast growth ash forests. This is where they get it now down south. When you order a frame, it's fast growth ash, which is a hardwood. Not the best wood, but you can't get mahogany anymore. So this is what they have, and it works, and it's fast growth, which is really important. But at certain points of history, we didn't have that, or a certain country didn't have that. I mean, look at England. England, how many large trees does England have anymore? With That's getting off subject anyhow. So the Turkish furniture is just a wood base pretty much, and the four wood legs, and everything else is built a metal frame all the way around it, and you have to upholster it. So I know I'm caught up because the comment here was from last week, and it says we just staple the fabric on the back. We don't care if it's visible. I'm not sure if they have a Turkish chair because, like I said last week, you can't staple into metal. I don't think that's a Turkish chair that they have. A true Turkish chair, like I said, is a metal frame chair except for the bottom. So I wouldn't leave us any exposed staples as a sign. People associate that with not a good job. So let's get to some estimates. I wanted to get some estimates that we were getting in for all you guys who are wondering about pricing and about the type of jobs I get and potentially the type of jobs that you can get in the upholstery world. Hi, Deborah. So let's see. Oh, I got this cool uh, request for this. Look at this chair, and I know that they bought this chair. Isn't that cool, you guys? That looks like a chair that was bought at an auction because I see a label. Do you see the label on the leg? But look at the lines on that chair. That line, I could tell you right now that could be the original upholstery on a chair that's over 100 years old because the upholstery is just wonderfully done. It's wonderfully done. So I estimate that about 1150 labor and 8 yards of fabric. And like I said, if you were listening earlier, that's about in the Boston area, the going rate in the metropolitan Boston area. You get outside of Boston, it goes down to about 900. You get outside of 495, for all you guys who from Massachusetts know what I mean. That's another interstate circumvent, they call it, highway, which is further out west. You go beyond that, and it's 700. You go beyond that. I mean, you can get down to, if you're willing to travel with if you're willing to travel with your furniture. I'm giving you little tips here, you guys. Get your SUV, throw it in your SUV, and take a trip out west, and the pricing will go down further away from Boston or any metropolitan area that you face. Of course, now with the gas pricing, you have to consider that, and your time, you have to consider that too, right? But it's interesting how demographics and geography pay in the upholstery world pay a huge it's a huge difference. Daphne says she loves that chair. Well, that's a ball and claw. I call that um, it's got a paneled wing and top of the arm, and it's probably a down cushion. And it's just the way it's done. It's a load of work. It's a load of work. Now the one behind me up here, that's going to be done a little bit more simple. I did one a little bit recently on this. Um, if you were watching me a couple of weeks ago, I showed a chair that for the same customer that I completed that had pleated and a button right here. But on this one here, he just wants to pleat it down like this, which is going to look okay. Um, hopefully I get to that. So let me just catch up on the comments. Yeah, Deborah, costs are going up. And if everybody is paying more for everything, how as a small business do you you know I went into a restaurant the other day. Restaurants, I'm hearing from my restaurants, they're saying that, "Where's everybody?" Well, if people are budgeting on their gas, um, and now they're paying double for their gas, that they're gonna look at that and not go out 1 night or 2 nights in the restaurant. That makes sense, right? I mean, it's a little scary, but, you have to find, so when you do when this if this continues, I may I may have to start teaching again, have start in-house, which just doesn't frighten me, but I am worried about the next big event. Deborah says she quit. You see what I'm saying, you guys? She quit eating out because she's paying more for gas and other things. Have you been to the supermarket? Supermarket prices, I think, have gone up 20%, and now it's been said by our politicians that we could have food shortages, but you know, what does that mean? Your favorite food might not be available, but I don't think it means that we're not going to have rice or something like that. Or rice is, although everything's going to run out. I wouldn't say that. We're not there yet. Um, so as a small business, you have to. The thing about the advantage of being a small business, though, is you can really turn on a dime. And I'm so good at that. Any small businessman who's been around, it's bigger businesses like bigger box businesses, um, they move slow, man. They take a long time to turn around and to go a different direction because when you build a corporate style, for instance, in my town, there's a Pete's, not Pete's Coffee, a Nero's and a Starbucks. So Nero's design, their whole business model was big place with intimate seating, so people could get together and feel like they're home. That's their model was, and offer good coffee. Starbucks, smaller stores, um, more uncomfortable seats. They don't want people staying. And this was their business model, which is fine. That's their business model. People didn't stop some people from staying there all the time, but the seats weren't as comfortable as Nero's. It's a different business model. Both of them had to change with COVID. But they did. They went into a lot of dash. The people coming in and delivering the food. And I was talking to the managers. They were making more during COVID than they were regularly. I mean, they could cut staff. They didn't have to clean up the messes that people made. You know, but it took them a long time though. Many meetings, many. Probably I could have walked in there one afternoon and switched it around, which you just have to do right now. So I'm thinking about what I'm going to be doing. I may have to change some things, not everything. The customer work will always be there for me, but as far as these free pickup and deliveries, I'm starting to really think that I need to start charging something. I think maybe people will understand that, but like I said, you could lose a job if they're at the limit now with how much they're going to spend, and then you say 125 or even 75 each way. That it could be enough for them to change their mind. So this is what you're dealing with. You have to be really careful with that stuff. So let's go on to the next one. Betty says, here's a chair that you guys might like. So I could tell you that this is it looks like an antique chair, but maybe you guys can guess. I'll ask you guys on the comments. I'm going to show you a couple of pictures. There's the back. How do I know that this is a modern chair? How do I know? What's the dead giveaway here? Let me go on the next one. Aside from the fabric, I guess. Style wise, what's the dead giveaway? Let me just hold it up there for a little while. So I know that that's a modern chair. There's a couple of things and I really have to be good at giving estimates over through texting you guys because, again, you don't want to waste too much time, right? So I just tell you, it has a single piping around it, which is not a traditional way of upholstering. This is a reproduction. And the other dead giveaway to probably the quality of the chair, the legs, Daphne says. I wasn't looking at the legs, so Daphne, I'm looking at the single piping. That's a manufacturer's thing. And the other thing that tells me that it's foam filled and not coil sprung is this. Do you see the bump in the middle? Do you see that the seat has like a hollow point? So that tells me that that's a foam filled cushion. So, one thing I learned a long time ago, I'm not going to say, oh, that's an inferior reproduction. I'm not going to say that because this could be grandmother's. I learned a long time ago to keep my mouth shut. So I'm just going to give them an estimate. But the estimate's it's going to be based on restoring the seat. Okay. It's not a typical reupholstery job. So you really have to get good at images, right? So I think I already answered her with the pricing. I said 725. Let me just hold this up again for you guys for your benefit. I said 725, and that's built in that I need to fix the seat. Otherwise, it might have been 575. And 4 yards of fabric. Hopefully, she doesn't pick up a stripe. I think the chair would look better in a non-stripe. Well, why did you think the legs, you guys? Because that's not a typical antique leg, and also the finish is kind of glossy, isn't it? Yeah, that's another. There's a few clues in this. It didn't take a genius to figure it all out, right? So let me just erase that. Let's go to the next one. I'm having fun with this. I might not get to this. Well, I think I don't usually comment on this, but if you guys are interested in ordering um, things, this is what the order form looks like from the Upholstery on Broadway. Let's see if I can. So Daphne's been a great customer of ours, and we appreciate it. But for all of you other people out there, at Upholstery on Broadway, you see all the things that I have. I kept it very simple. I don't have everything available, like in the upholstery world, but usually beginners to journeymen don't need everything, that they need certain things and supplies and tools that I've kind of handpicked that I use myself that are on the website. That's a good start for anybody, and a good and in the case of Daphne, she's upholstering and buying at the same time, which is great. Uh, she says that Daphne says the legs look manufactured. Denise, yeah, yep. Um, let's see. There's another estimate. It's a small estimate. Sometimes though, here's a little tip. You know what I noticed? Dining room chairs, right? This isn't a dining room chair, but maybe these are. Yeah. Usually on dining room chairs, I usually get almost every dining room chair that comes to me. They come in 6 to 8. For some reason, people don't mind paying. At the minimum on this is $90, right, for labor. Sometimes I have to charge up to 150 on a slip seat because they need reconstruction. Um, that's actually a good little job for me. 90 times six, $540. It's not a lot of fabric, but these are jobs that I've learned to, I can be quick at. So there's good profit in that, right? So where there's profit is usually on the pullover stuff, right? Where there's not as much profit, one behind me, not as much profit. That's a lot of labor and materials, and you don't always, unfortunately, no, you don't always, you can't really get the price that you should get on something like that. The other spot where you have to be careful on new furniture. If you have a sectional that has, 6 seat cushions and 6 backs and a skirt, and you figure that even the best of us who are stitching, we get about maybe 2 hours a piece on those cushions. 2 hours times 12, that's 24, and then plus the skirt, that's 30 hours just for sewing. Think about that. So if you're doing 30 hours of sewing, and your shop time is $80, See, this is how quick you have to be too when you're given an estimate. You have to really, I mean, you can't float all these numbers. I'm doing this for your benefit. But $2,400 for sectional just for sewing the cushions, and you haven't even done the body yet. And you can only get now. I mean, for labor on a sectional. We can get like maybe 1,900, let's say $2,000 for a fully upholstered sofa. So a sectional is going to be about four. So I'm already at $2,400 with just the cushions, not including the picking up, not including the stripping. We never add the stripping costs to anything, because that would just blow the price right out of the water. So here's something interesting. So I would come in at about 3,600 to $4,000 on a sectional, let's say, right? Because you really can't charge them for two sofas, because usually it's not one arm. You don't have one arm, etc. So we're at about 4,000, and then the fabric comes in at two or 1,500. So we're at $5,500. Now, most of these sectionals that I did $10,000. But people are funny. I don't get a lot of these sectionals, even the high-end sectionals. There's a couple of reasons for that. Usually, I think it could be one reason is you don't get sentimentally attached to a sectional as you would an grandmother's antique side chair, that's for sure. But it's funny that there's the decision-making process that goes on is, okay, I know I can get this. It's going to be $4,000 less than a manufactured sofa, a sectional. But you'd be surprised how many times that people decide to do that. They just want something in their view. It's something fresh and new. I think that's a younger generation that thinks that way, because this sectional I delivered today was absolutely stunning and new, brand new. I mean, it's new. There's nothing old about it. When you put new fabric on something, it's new. Um, so I don't know. It's a funny thing. It's a lot. The psychology. Maybe we have people who psychologists can weigh in on the psychology of selling. There's a lot of psychology in it. There really is. Maybe we should look at that a little bit more. So I think I'm going to get a little bit of work done on this. Let's switch this, because I can't believe that we're already at an hour. So I'm just going to do a couple of things. You've heard the compressor going off. Jimmy last week he did one layer of the horsehair on the deck, and I was just looking at it. It looked really good. I don't have to do anything to it. He did a good job. Jimmy is good. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a blanket stitch in the front here to hold the front down first. So I'm gonna take about 2 yards of the nylon. You need nylon tufting twine for this, you guys. Nothing else really works well. I have 2 size curved needles. I'm going to use the 4-inch for this. I have a bigger needle there that I might use for the second layer of horsehair. So you guys, you very rarely, if at all, in any of my YouTube videos have seen me do this. So what I'm going to do is this is called a blanket stitch. I'm going to go in the horsehair. You need to go inside the horsehair about 1 inch back, because it will rip. And then I'm going to tie. I like to tie this off. Some upholsterers like to make their knot with the needle. I like to make sure it's knotted off. And I like to be a little neat. Some people don't cut that, but I do. So a blanket stitch is that you're coming through the loop here intentionally, whereas in most other stitches, blind stitches and back stitches, you don't want to do that. But in the case of a blanket stitch, you do. Why am I doing this? Why is he putting a blanket stitch on the front? Because I want to kind of taper that front edge of that horsehair, because there's going to be a seam here with my fabric. This is a transition line that I'm trying to achieve. I'm not just going to put a flat stitch in there like I'm going to do everywhere else, which you'll see in a minute. So what I want a tapering of the horsehair. One more should do it. And then I'll go back, I'll read the comments to end the show, see if anybody has questions about this. And then I'm going to knot this off. Okay. So that's my blanket stitched. I want to I want to stabilize the rest of it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab 3 yards of the twine. I still use my 4-inch curved needle. And what I want to do is just get rows of stitching, not the blanket stitch. This is definitely, you don't want a blanket stitch here. So this is pretty much just to stabilize. And this isn't a tight stitch, you guys. It's a very light stitch. You don't want to distort the horsehair, because the way Jimmy has it, he's got a nice evenness to that. So when you come into the next stitch, you want to give it about 3 inches, and then you go in. See, so you want to grab as much of the horsehair, and then when it comes out here, you might want to go over here, and then you're coming up to the second row like this. Just to stabilize the hair. I don't want it to move around, being extra cautious. There are other techniques to this that I've seen people do, but I do it's a very simple stitch to me. It doesn't have to be super neat either. On the older furniture, when you open it up, that's what you see, just what I have here. And then I'm going to just get a close stitch there, and then just get a knot there. Then I'm going to take that and cut the ends off. That's pretty much it. Now, just to let you know, I have my muslin ready to go. On the muslin, I'm going to put it in here. I'm going to get a tack here, a tack here. I'm not going to put a seam in there. I'm just going to I'm going to have it overhang. And then I'm going to just get a stitch in there. And then I'm going to flap that back. And then I'm going to get a layer of horsehair. And I'm going to do a blanket stitch to the front. Then I'm going to get a second layer of horsehair. Use my bigger needle because I have 2 layers to go through. And then I'm going to blanket stitch to the front so I get a nice transition line. Then I'm going to put the muslin on completely. And then when I go to put my fabric on my cotton is going to, I'm saying this because you guys might not see this, but over the muslin, and before I put my fabric on, I'm going to have a layer that I'm going to fold, and then I'm going to have the front of the cotton folded right here. And then that's to add a little bit of squareness or a little bit of loft, because we're putting a loose cushion on this. So there you go. That's that. I'll just check in the comments to see if you guys like that. Randy's back. So we got one comment about the pricing that I was talking about. If you charge right, even in a place of different demographic, does upholstery really create a fairly decent income? And Randy answered, upholstery can create a good income. And I know a number of people who have made a living at it. Sure. It's funny. I'll just talk about my own experience just briefly. But my biggest problem in my life was distractions. In any business, distractions are not good. So the distractions that came with me, and I don't regret anything that I've ever done as related to the upholstery business, because some of the things that I've done, like teaching adult ed, some people say, why do you do that? That's no money in that, Well, there might not be any money, but there's a lot of satisfaction out of it. And we met a lot of nice people, and made a lot of friends doing that. Also, if you have a business, it could be good for your business. You do have to make a special effort sometimes on getting customers. That's one of the hardest things. You could be the best upholsterer in the world, not have customers. So you need to find ways of making customers. The other thing I did for 4 years, I taught in a program for people with mental illness. I was the upholstery instructor, and it was a job adjustment type place. And that was probably the most rewarding I did in upholstery. Now, I know somebody, same name in Boston, same first name as I have, who didn't do any of these things throughout his career. He's about my age, and he's driving around, Randy, in Lamborghinis. And he's got a big house. He's really made a lot of money, but he didn't have these distractions. And I can tell you, I got a 2010 Transit that just gets me around. And I don't regret, no, I don't regret anything that I've done in upholstery. And of course, this YouTube channel has been a great success. Does it bring in a lot of money? No, but some life isn't always about money. You know, it's about happiness too, right? And I think upholstery can make you happy. I really do. I think a lot of people that I've taught have said they're in high stressful jobs, all kinds of white collar jobs, and they tell me that it was one of the nice, it's a very relaxing thing. And also, Randy just said his overhead is low. That's true. You could keep your overhead low when I mean, you think about it. You already have you have the object. It's already been manufactured. You're enhancing it, right? Yeah, and Daphne says, it's funny with the social media, Daphne. That's true that you can advertise on social media if you, especially if you've come from that world. I think Daphne has. You come from the world of social media, and you're a little younger than me. You could take advantage of that. If it wasn't for Patrick, I probably would. I'd be miserable at this. But social media is free for the most part, right? Your overhead is low. Your startup costs, Randy, are very low. I just was talking about, your kitchen drawer has the startup for an upholstery business, really. And then what Daphne does, you buy your supplies as needed. You don't want to have a warehouse full of supplies that you don't use. You have to be really smart, and you have to be smart about not taking donations and things like that. People want to just give you furniture. Well, you have to store it. Storage is expensive. Things like that. You have to be smart. And I think that we've talked a lot about these things over the years, and hopefully that we've helped. I could see that when I look at Blair, what he's done already, and I could see. I love the fact that he's taken my ideas. I really do. I think it's great. Sharing is good, and he looks like he's avoided a lot of the mistakes. One thing I noticed, he was posting his shop, and his shop was very clean looking, right? He's only had what he was working on in the shop. Where you get in trouble is when you start, even if the jobs that you took in, right, and they're upholstery jobs. You look here with me, and you see it's always different, right? If you're having things lying around and things aren't moving and they're collecting dust, you got a problem. There's a problem with you not. You really need to cycle things out fast, not suffering quality. There's so many things about it. Randy says, I also purchase as needed, doing work and trying to sell on consignment. Basic is losing proposition. That's I have to tell you, one of our students, on a few people on the Facebook, they have great success with the consignment end of things. It depends on where you are. It really depends. If you know your store that's offering the consignment, you might be able to turn things around, but you need to do it fast. The danger there is, what if it doesn't sell? What do you do with it? It comes back home, it goes in a store, it goes in a warehouse, you have to buy storage space. It really can add up. You don't think about it right away, but it does. It just sits. Yep. So I hope that you guys, this has gone on pretty good. I think over an hour, and I'm surprised without Jimmy here that we went this long. So Willard Furniture says, and before I go off, Randy, do you mean buying and flipping? Start was about 1,200. So Randy, what other business, right, Randy? Randy's saying that he thinks his total investment in startup was $1,200, including the sewing machine. Think about that. And Randy had the skill because Randy was smart. He was going to adult ed, and he developed a skill. And then, so Randy, I should tell you guys, if you're looking at Randy going, oh, I can do this. Remember, Randy had a pretty good skill level before he did this, right? But so he gets the skill level. He puts $1,200 in. His first job as a sofa for $1,500. He's made his money back and made $300 in a very short time. So you guys can do this. And I love talking about the story about that woman out, the single mother too, out in the Midwest somewhere, who called me and thanked me because she was looking at my free videos, and she took the advice of low overhead, low startup, and she had skill. Obviously, she had some skill, and she was supplementing her income because she was a stay-at-home mom. I love that. I really do. I love these stories. If you guys have these stories, please keep sending them to me. Comment. You can put them on the YouTube comments and things like that to see how we may. I'll throw it out there. How we maybe have helped you. Have a better life through upholstery. Let's say if you can comment, that would be great. But I have to go now. I have to go home. But anyhow, thanks you guys for signing in. I really appreciate you guys hanging in there. My regulars and others, and all the people who are going to watch this later. Thanks a lot. I'll see you later.